All right, here's our boy Bradley Beal right here. Hasn't been the best years of his career basketball wise these past few years, but he has been the best businessman in the NBA. Bradley Beal still has his no trade clause. He's scheduled to make 53 million next year from the Phoenix Suns. Then he's scheduled to make 57 million the following year, but he does have a player option for that year. But there's no way he's going to opt out of that player option. He's going to get his $57 million, and then he'll be a free agent in the following year. But just been a disaster of a season for Phoenix. There's 2 games left in the season for most teams. Phoenix has been eliminated from the playoffs already, and everyone's just pretty confused. I mean, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. It doesn't sound like an awesome fit on paper, but you have three basically superstar scorers. Bradley Beal is not a superstar, but when the team was put together, at least myself, I thought his 3-and-D play style would fit decently with Booker and Kevin Durant, but they just didn't put the right pieces around them. Maybe just the attitudes altogether didn't work out, or I don't know what it was for it not to work out. But Bradley Beal is going to make the 53 million next year, and then the following year he's going to opt into his player contract and make that 57 million. So everyone's just kind of wondering what's the next step for the Phoenix Suns. And like I said, Bradley Beal is going to be there the next 2 seasons. There's no way he's going to opt out of his player option, not next season, but the season after that. So that's already, what is that, 53 plus 57 million. They're paying him 110 million over these next 2 years, which is crazy considering how his production has dipped off these past few years. But Bradley Beal is going to be there. I don't see them trading Devin Booker. I mean, it seems like the best thing would just be to blow everything up at this point. But again, Beal is not going anywhere. I don't see them trading Devin Booker. And then Kevin Durant's gonna be out of there. He's already voiced his opinion. He doesn't want to be on Phoenix, so he's gonna get traded in this offseason just so they don't have like a super toxic situation with Kevin Durant in the locker room next season. Not that Kevin's really that type of player, but he heard back that they were trying to trade him at the deadline. They were taking offers for him, and it got back to him. So, I don't blame him. He decided he wants to get out of Phoenix and wants to get traded to a contender. Let's see real quick the standings here. If you see though, yeah, here's Phoenix right here. They're 35 and 45, so they have 80 games played. They only have the 2 more games to play. Then here's Dallas. They also have 80 games played, but only 42 losses. So even if Phoenix wins their next 2 games and Dallas loses their next 2 games, it doesn't matter. Phoenix is totally mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So, like I was saying, just wondering what's going to happen next. Bradley Beal is going to be there. I don't see Devin Booker going anywhere. But as far as trading Kevin Durant, I live here in San Antonio, so of course I'm a Spurs fan. San Antonio has been one of the destinations linked to the Kevin Durant trade, and I think it'd be a pretty awesome fit here in San Antonio. We maybe trade the Hawks pick. We have some other first round picks coming up for next year as well. So we probably trade some picks. The Hawks pick for this upcoming draft. We have our own first round pick, and I don't see us trading that. We're going to draft someone in the lottery, so there's no way we're going to trade that pick, in my opinion. But trade the Hawks pick possibly, and then trade some of our picks for these next coming up years because we have a handful of picks coming up. And then I'm sure Phoenix would probably want Devin Vassell or Jeremy Sohan, and that's where I get kind of iffy. I don't really want us to trade. Definitely not Jeremy Sohan. He'd be the best fit on Phoenix because Vassell would be just another player similar to what they had. He's a 3-and-D type of player. And then it'll be him, Booker, Bradley Beal. And I don't think it'll be really a great fit from Phoenix's standpoint. And then as a Spurs fan, I want us to keep Vassell. He's probably going to be at least our fourth option, our third or fourth option, and he's really good in that role. But then with Jeremy Sohan, he can really defend 1 through 5. He's a really versatile defender, and he'd be the better fit from Phoenix's standpoint because Sohan's only 21 years old. Like I said, he can defend 1 through 5. He's really good at getting in the passing lanes. He's good at help defense, and he just makes things really hard on the opposing team's best scorer or their point of attack, their point of attack offensive player. But that would be the best fit for Phoenix. They'd probably want Sohan, I believe, in some of our draft picks. So we'll kind of see what San Antonio wants to do in the offseason, but I kind of think we're going to keep our team together as is. We'll maybe trade some draft picks and try to get a 3-and-D type of player. I've heard our name in talks with Cam Johnson. Nas Reed is another guy I've heard we may want to get. So we'll kind of see what happens from San Antonio's side. We've seen Minnesota be in talks with getting Kevin Durant as well. So he'd be an interesting fit on Minnesota. I mean, him and Anthony Edwards together, but I don't know. They may put them up into not championship contention, but they'd probably be in the top five if they added Kevin Durant. But it's just so weird. Whatever team he goes to, he would help the team. But I'm just trying to think where he would go to make a team a championship contender. Because if he came to San Antonio and we had De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama, and Kevin Durant, I could see the Spurs being at least a top four team next year, to be honest, as long as everyone stays healthy. But we'll just have to see what happens in the offseason. Phoenix is eliminated from playoff contention. Kevin Durant's not happy there. He's going to get traded, so it just depends on what situation he wants to go to almost, because whatever team trades for him, they're probably going to want to know if he's going to re-sign for next year. So Kevin Durant has a good amount of leverage in this situation. It's just going to depend on where Kevin Durant wants to go, and then where Phoenix agrees to send him. Because like I said, whatever team trades for him, they're going to have some leverage. With the Luka Doncic trade happening, with the Spurs getting De'Aaron Fox for not a lot of draft capital, for not a lot of players. So the trade market is different, especially after the Luka trade. A lot of teams feel like they can get a superstar player without trading too much. And then, like I said before, Kevin Durant, whatever team he goes to, they're going to want to know if he wants to re-sign or not next year. And if he decides he doesn't want to re-sign for whatever team Phoenix wants to trade him to, Kevin Durant has more leverage in that way, and he can kind of control his destination more like that. But we'll see what happens in the offseason. As a Spurs fan, I would like to see us get Kevin Durant, depending on how much we give up. But honestly, I don't think it would, pole vault us into championship contention for next year. And it kind of wouldn't fit our timeline too well with Kevin Durant being 37 years old. But, if we did get him, we could possibly, I don't think we'd be able to compete next year, but possibly the year after that if we get some strong draft picks. If we trade for another 3-and-D player, we need a backup center as well. And then maybe the year after, we could possibly compete. But comment below what you think. It's I actually have no idea where Phoenix is going to try to send Kevin Durant, but he's definitely going to be out the door. Please let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe as well if you finished the video.